De Jongen. Listen and learn the English book that teaches you Dutch. Written and illustrated by Laura van Iwaarden. A book for de kinderen. Based on the true story of Bert van Donkersgoed. De Jongen. Copyright 2021 Laura Remley van Iwaarden. All rights reserved. www.dekinderen.ca. This book is dedicated to Gijs Berters van Donkersgoed and all his grandchildren and great-grandchildren who have been impacted by his legacy, and to Kate Stennis, who gave me the idea to write it in the first place. May our opa's legacy, language and strength live on in the next generations. 1. De Nederlandse vlag is rood, wit, blauw. 2. Once upon a time, a long, long time ago, there was a young jongen who lived on a farm in a big brick house with his pa, his moe and 6 broers en zussen. His name was Gijs Berters. Can you spot him? Hey, de jongen has his friend, de vogel, on his shoulder. Gijsbert, Gerrit, Aalt, Pa, Klaas, Moe, Gerritje, Jantje, Gijs Berters. 3. Waar is Nederland? Hier? Hier? Nee, dat is Spanje. Hier? Nee, dat is Italië. 4. Can you find Nederland on the kaart? What are the countries beside it? Do you see the country called Germany? In those days, Germany didn't understand that they needed to be good neighbors, so they took an army and marched right into Nederland. This was World War II. 5. There are lots of animals on the farm. Can you spot them? The kip says tok tok tok. De vogel says chirp. De hond says blaf blaf. De kat says meow. Het paard says hinnik. De koe says moe. 6. De jongen loved his broers and zussen. Because of the war, the children didn't have toys like we do now. But in the jongen's family, there were so many children that they were always coming up with creative ways to have fun. How many girls are in this picture? Can you count them? 1, 2, 3. Ik heb honger. We are next to the jongen in the yellow coat. 7. The jongen loved his family's farm. When you walked into the yard, you could see his family's big brick house. Half of the house was for living in and the other half for the family's 12 koeien. What did the vogel say to the cow? Koe, koe. Haha. 8. All the jongens, broers en zussen would go to sleep up in the room above the barn. The heat from the 12 koeien would help keep them warm in the nacht. A bonus to sleeping here was that no one would notice if you accidentally farted. You could blame it on the koeien. Goedemorgen, koeien. 9. One of the jongen's jobs would be to gather the eieren from the kippen. Each kip would lay a different color ei depending on what color of veren they had. Because food was scarce during the war, these eieren were very special to the familie. Can you count the kippen? How many eieren do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. On special days when there was flour, the jongen loved to help his mother make big pancakes called pannenkoeken. She would mix het meal and add some milk from the koe. Then the jongen would carefully crack een ei into the kom. What would you put on your pannenkoek? Lekker. 11. Before de maaltijd, de vader van de jongen would bring out his special book and read a chapter of the Bible. Everyone would bow their heads and bid to God, asking for strength for their bodies and protection from the Germans who didn't know how to be good neighbors yet. They relied on God to help them during each dag. Luke 10:27. He answered, Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. 12. De jongens moeder worked super hard. She had 7 children and she needed to make sure they all had enough clothes to wear and food to eat. She would ask the neighbors who had schapen for some wool. Then she would spin it into yarn on her big spinning wheel. Many evenings were spent knitting clothes, sokken, and underwear for the kinderen. Wouldn't woolly underwear be itchy? 13. Op zondag, de jongen and his father and mother would walk to the kerk from their house. It was a long, long walk to the kerk, so when the jongen was still klein, his big broers and zussen would carry him on their shoulders. After church, hij would often go visit his cousins. Sometimes he wished he had een fiets to ride to the kerk. Oh, how fun that would be. Speaking of fiets, the jongen's family only had one fiets. Rubber was hard to find because of the war, so the family's bike had tires made out of small birch trees. That would be a bumpy ride. 14. A fiets, you, the reader, ask, raising both your eyebrows. Didn't the jongen have feet? Nee, een fiets is what they call a bike in Nederland. That's funny, you, the reader, giggle. Fiets, 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 fast, fiets, slow, fiets, 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 fiets. 15. De jongen was a big hulp to his moeder. The family didn't have electricity or running water, so sometimes the jongen helped his moeder pump water from the waterpomp. It was a lot of work to keep all the kleren clean, especially the jongens, because he was always getting dirty. On the washline, the jongens moeder hangs broek, sokken, onderbroek, overhemd, pet, jurk, schort, vaatdoek, zakdoek, sok. 16. One of the things that the jongen loved to do was walk down to the train tracks in his wooden klompen shoes and wait for a train to come rolling past. He would climb up to the top of his favorite tree and wait. He loved seeing the different kinds of train cars and guessing what was inside each of them. Oranje, groen, rood, blauw. The train cars would whistle past. How many cars do you see? Can you count them in Dutch? 1, 2, 3, 4. 17. One day the war ended. All the German soldiers started running out of Nederland. One cold rainy nacht, a German boy not too much older than the jongen came to the jongen's farm. He was cold, he was hungry, and he was crying. His country had not been good neighbors. They had taken what didn't belong to them and had caused a lot of problems for the jongen's family and for his country. They would have sent the boy away, but something stopped them. Every night, the jongen's family would read the Bible. They had put God's words in their hearts. His word says to love your neighbor and even to love your enemy and people who are not kind to you. So, do you know what they did? They sat that boy down and made him a pannenkoek, the biggest and best pannenkoek they knew how to make. They told the boy they loved him even if his country tried to hurt them. They forgave him. Luke 10:27. He answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. 18. 19. 20. Soon after that, the jongen's family moved to Canada. The jongen had kids, and then those kids had kinderen too. And you know what? After the war, the Germans learned how to be good neighbors. Some of them even became the jongen's family's vrienden. Love does that.